Is the biggest aviation mystery of all time, the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370, about to be solved?
Imagine a massive Boeing 777-200ER with 227 passengers and 12 crew members on board, taking off on a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. It's a clear night and everything seems normal. But then, something incredibly shocking happens. This is the story of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370, a flight that would become one of the most confusing mysteries in history. On March 8, 2014, MH370 took off at 12:41 a.m. local time. For the first 38 minutes, everything appeared ordinary. The plane communicated with air traffic control and followed its planned route. At 1:19 a.m., as the plane was transitioning from Malaysian to Vietnamese airspace, the Kuala Lumpur Air Traffic Control Center radioed the crew with a handover message to Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control. The co-pilot responded with, "Good night, Malaysian 370.
370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night. Good night, Malaysian 370.
This would be the last time anyone on the ground heard from MH370. Shortly after that last communication at around 1:21 a.m., the plane's transponder, which communicates with ground-based radar, was turned off or failed. This meant civilian radar could no longer track the aircraft. However, military radar continued to track MH370 as it deviated from its planned route. Instead of heading north to Beijing, it made a shocking westward turn over the Malay Peninsula. Even though the transponder was off, the aircraft's satellite communication system continued to send hourly pings to a satellite owned by Inmarsat. These pings didn't provide specific location data, but indicated that the plane was still powered and flying. The last full handshake was at 8:11 a.m., suggesting the plane had been flying for nearly 7 hours after losing contact with air traffic control. This mysterious disappearance triggered one of the most extensive search and rescue operations in history. The initial search efforts focused on the South China Sea, where the plane's signal was last detected by civilian radar. But as time went on, officials expanded the search area to the Strait of Malacca after military radar data suggested the plane might have turned back. Multiple countries, including China, the US, and India, joined the search, contributing ships, aircraft, and satellite imagery. One of the most shocking theories surrounding the disappearance of MH370 suggests that it was a case of pilot suicide. According to this theory, the captain of the flight, Zahari Ahmad Shah, deliberately flew the plane off course and into the southern Indian Ocean, taking his life and the lives of all 238 passengers and crew on board. There are several pieces of evidence that support this theory. The first is the flight path of MH370 after taking off from Kuala Lumpur. The plane was supposed to fly to Beijing following a northeastern route over the South China Sea. However, at 1:19, the plane made an unexpected and unusual turn westward. The second piece of evidence is the pilot's background and behavior. Zahari Ahmad Shah was a 53-year-old veteran pilot with more than 18,000 hours of flying experience. He was married with 3 children and had no known history of mental illness or criminal activity. However, some investigators and experts have suggested that he might have had personal or professional problems that could have driven him to commit suicide. For example, some reports claim that he was having marital issues. They also found that he had deleted some data from his simulator a few weeks before the flight. Some analysts have interpreted this as a sign that he was planning to hijack the plane and fly it to an unknown destination or crash it into the ocean. The third piece of evidence is the lack of communication or distress signals from the plane. According to this theory, Zahari deliberately avoided any contact with air traffic control or anyone else on the ground. This theory gained some credibility because no other person on board was hinted at and no distress signals were ever received from the plane. Another theory proposes that the flight was hijacked. The theory suggests that the aircraft's 2 main communication systems, the Aircraft Communications Addressing and Reporting System, ACARS, and the transponder, were turned off or disabled within minutes of each other. This deliberate action indicates an attempt to make the plane invisible to both civilian radar and ground-based communication systems. Satellite data suggests that MH370 continued to fly for several hours after it lost contact with air traffic control. This extended flight time, combined with the deliberate disabling of communication systems, raises many questions. For instance, what could have led a group of people to hijack MH370? Some said that the hijacking could have been politically motivated, to be shown as a statement against the Malaysian government or another political entity. But the truth is that no group has come forward to claim responsibility, which is unusual for politically motivated hijackings. Another possibility is that the hijackers plan to ransom the passengers or the airline. Some experts, however, have drawn parallels with the 9/11 attacks, suggesting that MH370 was hijacked with the intention of using it in a subsequent terror attack. The plane, loaded with fuel, could have been used as a weapon. However, no such attack has occurred, and no group has claimed responsibility. One of the more shocking theories suggests that MH370 was accidentally shot down. At the time of MH370's disappearance, several countries were on high alert, and it's possible that the aircraft could have been targeted. The weird flight path, as reconstructed from available data, suggests that the plane might have been trying to evade something or was under external control. After its last communication with air traffic control, the aircraft made a series of turns and flew back across the Malay Peninsula. This change in direction could be seen as a dodging technique. Additionally, the fact that the plane's transponder was turned off just as it entered Vietnamese airspace could be seen as an attempt to hide evidence. Now, one of the most confusing aspects of the MH370 mystery is the scarcity of wreckage found. While some debris confirmed to be from the plane has washed ashore on islands in the Indian Ocean, the main wreckage site has never been located. If the plane was shot down, especially by a missile designed to destroy aircraft, it would have broken into numerous pieces, scattering debris over a wide area. This scattering could make it more challenging to locate the main crash site. There is also confusion regarding the satellite data used to track the plane's path. Some proponents of the Shootdown theory argue that this data could have been misinterpreted or even tampered with to divert attention from the real crash site. It's important to note that there have been other instances where civilian planes were shot down either accidentally or deliberately, such as the tragic incident of Korean Air Flight 007, which was shot down by the Soviet Union in 1983 after straying into prohibited airspace. Another theory suggests that a fire caused by the shipment of lithium-ion batteries on board the plane led to its disappearance. Lithium-ion batteries are known to be fire-prone under certain conditions. If these batteries are damaged, short-circuited, overcharged, or exposed to high temperatures, they can catch fire or even explode. The Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, has documented numerous incidents where lithium-ion batteries have caused fires on planes. Given that MH370 was carrying a significant shipment of these batteries, it's possible that a malfunction or damage to one or more of these batteries could have initiated a fire. Furthermore, you need to consider the possibility of a breakdown in communication. If a fire broke out on board, it could have quickly damaged the aircraft's communication systems, explaining why there was no distress call from the pilots. The rapid progression of a fire, especially one fueled by lithium-ion batteries, could have overwhelmed the crew before they had a chance to communicate the emergency to air traffic control. While the official report on MH370's disappearance released by the Malaysian government acknowledged the presence of lithium-ion batteries in the plane's cargo, it did not conclusively state that the batteries caused a fire. However, it did not rule out the possibility. The acknowledgement of the batteries' presence and the known risks they pose lend some credibility to this theory. The mystery of Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370's disappearance deepens when considering additional elements of the case. Over the years, debris believed to be from MH370 have surfaced on remote islands and coasts, offering pieces of evidence regarding the plane's potential fate and movement. Despite the discovery of these debris pieces, extensive search operations conducted in the southern Indian Ocean failed to yield any viable results, leading to the termination of search efforts in 2017. However, ongoing debates and discussions persist on the possibility of resuming these efforts. The investigation into the plane's disappearance reached into the backgrounds of passengers and crew members, with thorough checks conducted to uncover any potential motives or connections among those on board. Satellite communication handshakes were also tracked, which played a central role in the investigation, though they didn't provide precise location data. Inmarsat, the satellite communication company involved, played a crucial role in providing data that contributed to tracking the plane's path and determining its potential final position. Now let's fast forward to the present. For years, the disappearance of MH370 remained a mystery, with families of the victims longing for answers. But there have been recent breakthroughs in the efforts to find the plane. One notable development is the research conducted by the University of Western Australia, UWA. Their team has used reverse drift modeling and a new aircraft tracking technology to analyze the debris and the signals from the plane. Reverse drift modeling helps predict the resting place of MH370, considering factors like ocean currents and wind patterns. In 2021, they employed a new aircraft tracking technology called WSPR-NET to detect and track MH370. WSPR-NET is a global network of amateur radio operators who transmit and receive low-power signals that can travel long distances. These signals are affected by the presence of aircraft, which reflect or scatter them in different directions. This technology allowed Jeffrey Wise, an aviation expert, to track MH370's path as it flew for nearly 7 hours after losing contact with air traffic control, covering a distance of about 5,000 kilometers. It crashed into the ocean at 10:26 on March 8, 2014, at a location about 2,000 kilometers west of Perth, Australia. These groundbreaking studies have contributed to ongoing efforts to solve the mystery of MH370 and provide closure to the families and friends of the victims. The studies have also demonstrated the power and potential of reverse drift modeling and WSPR-NET technology. Jeff Wise, along with his team, hopes that their research will lead to a new search for MH370, using underwater drones and specialized equipment to scan the ocean floor. Finding MH370 is not only important for the families and loved ones of those on board, but also for the aviation industry and the flying public. We need to know what happened to MH370 and how we can prevent such tragedies in the future. The mystery of Malaysian flight MH370 remains a puzzle with multiple theories, from pilot suicide to hijacking, accidental shooting, and even a lithium-ion battery fire. Recent advances in technology and ongoing research provide hope that one day we may finally uncover the truth and bring closure to the families who have been waiting for answers for so long.